Okay, hi. Monica, you said that you were here. It looks like that you're not in the actual Hangouts. You might be linked to it via YouTube, which is fine too. It means, the only thing that it means is that you won't necessarily be able to interact with asking questions live. But what I'll do is I'll try to pay attention to you chiming in over on Facebook. I can see it in my corner. I haven't quite figured that part out, why it sometimes works like that and why it doesn't work like that. So for those of you, if you are here, I know that Adriana went, oh, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Adriana, I know that you too have a tendency to have to observe from YouTube as well. And if that's the case, no worries. If you have a question, I've slid my page over so I can see if someone's chiming in over on the Facebook page. I will eventually figure out all the ins and outs. I'm still working on it. It's a learning curve here. So for those who are here, welcome, welcome, welcome to my very first Crystal of the Month workshop. And it is my birthday month, October, and so that is why I am actually giving you this as a gift, because I think that, well, I love to celebrate my birthday. I love to celebrate everyone's birthday. I think life is something to be celebrated. But I also really was excited about getting this Crystal of the Month started off with a, with a bang, so to speak. For those of you who aren't aware, I am living in Australia, just outside of Sydney. I'm about, well, by train, I'm about 45 minutes. By car, depending upon traffic, maybe 30 minutes. To measure, to give you distance, it's under 20 kilometers. However, like any sort of suburbia area, the measurement doesn't always work as well in terms of time and distance. So I have been here in Australia now, I'm on month 16, and it's been an amazing, amazing journey. And it's been interesting because I've had quite a learning curve on how to be able to really connect with my passion and share it with the world. And I've been blessed enough to really start figuring out my way online and how to do it. And the Crystal of the Month became a way, or sort of came about after me doing a few of these on-air Google Hangouts. And I was like, you know what, I really need to do this because this is really important. I know I'm not the only person in the world that really loves crystals. And I also know that there are a lot of people out there who are curious about crystals and, need someone to communicate with and ask questions to. And I am hopefully that someone. So let me introduce a bit more about myself. I am Krista, the owner of Dimensional Healing. I am your teacher, spiritual healer, and crystal goddess. And what I basically do is I guide and heal women to live, or all individuals, to live radiant, positive, and balanced lives. So welcome. And I hope that this is the beginning, for those of you who are just really starting to connect, the beginning of a lifelong journey. So as promised, today is our Crystal Workshop Day, and it's essentially all about opals. Now, for those of you who are like, it's October, opals, there is a small correlation. But actually, that isn't as much of the connection as the fact that, well, I'm living essentially in the opal capital of the world. And I actually, this past July, get to spend a couple of days in the physical location that is considered and dubbed the opal capital of the world. And I learned a tremendous amount about opals. I didn't realize how many kinds of opals there were. I didn't realize the color spectrum and range really until I started diving a bit further in to the opals. And so I'm just looking to see if someone was trying to communicate. I heard it chime. So I'm really excited to share with you. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and I figured what we'll do is we're going to cover everything from the stories behind opals, where it is that they come from, somewhat of the formation and how they're created, because I did learn about that, and the types of mining. For some of you, that's going to be, really interesting, and for others, not so much. You're here for the magic of it all and to understand, and we're going to bring that in as well. I am really fascinated by both aspects of it, and I think that understanding the foundation and how crystals are formulated really helps us to understand how they can work best within our lives. So there's a little bit of both going on here. As I said, today it's a little bit, it's the first one, and it's a gift for you guys. Oh, I have stuff around me, so I do apologize for having to look down. I was working on trying to make this space a little bit neater so that I had everything right here. I just wasn't able to for today. I have children and had children who needed to be in locations all at different times, and it didn't quite allow me to do everything I needed to. But that's okay, because they're safe. So opals, and I'm going to show you a book that I picked up, and it's a teeny tiny book. Actually, I think it consists of 19 pages. And I got this when I was in Cooper, PD. Cooper, and that's Coober, PD, Pedy, Cooper, PD. And it's called Opals in South Australia. And it's just this little pamphlet that is really fascinating. It was full of a lot of information. And then I did more research, and I've gone online and really looked a little bit deeper into opals and how they work for different people. But I really wanted to start with the science behind it, and I'm going to show you some of the photos that are in here as I read a bit and share some of the information. And when I can figure out how to make PowerPoint connect onto here, I haven't tried that yet. I need to do that. That's for the next class. We will be doing it where I combine PowerPoint and me. I just haven't ventured down that. It's more of a self-confidence thing than anything else. So there you have it. But opals are the fifth. Is that right? Fifth. Yes. They are the fifth most valuable gem on the planet, and they've been that way for centuries and centuries and centuries. The whole myth behind and the thought behind that opals are bad luck actually is far more modern than it is something that comes from the ancients. It's thought to have come about after a bout of illness and a few deaths of monarchs in Europe, yeah, in Europe during the 18th and 19th century. But then it was sort of sped even further when it was written about in a book at the turn of the 20th century. So that is very much a new and modern myth. The actual thought behind opals and the feel and the vibe behind opals have been that it's always been a wonderful piece to have for adornment. And one of the actual readings I did recently, it actually speaks of opals being a wonderful stone for bringing out the magic within, bringing out the beauty so that it captivates those who see you. And I thought that was a very interesting part to the whole history of it, because many of the people, the Romans and let's see, it was a long use with the Romans, and it was something that the Hungarians and the Austrians really used within in the Germanic royalty, because it was used as an enhancement, as an adornment. And if you actually think about opals, including the milky ones, which is pretty much what we all are used to, because that's the ones, at least I know in the United States, that we see predominantly, because that's what we produce. And in Europe, that's also what they produce. They produce the milky ones with just a little bit of fire or sparkle in it, actually less fire and more sparkle. The real fiery opals, the ones that have the brilliant colors that actually look fake, come predominantly from Australia and now are being found in Ethiopia. And when you actually look at how the two continents connect, it sort of makes sense that the fiery opals are found in the two locations of Ethiopia and Australia. So it's really interesting, again, to follow the process back. So one of the things that happened, as I said, is that they used and believed that the opals were this precious stone that brought forth luck, prosperity, beauty, and abundance. The Romans, that is. And they were really just fascinated with it. You can see it in many pieces of the jewelry that is on display in museums. If you look back also further, that yes, the primary sources for the Romans was Hungary, until the Spaniards went to the New World and found what are the Aztec opals, and shipped them back into Europe. When the opals started to lose their favor in, like I said, the 18th and 19th century, at that point, many things happened. If you think back and look back into history, there was just, I mean, the plague was going through. We were having uprisings within monarchies. We were having monarchies being overthrown by one another. It was just bedlam in the European history books. And, you know, then you had the discoveries of the new worlds in bringing in these other opals. Well, it was in the 1890s-ish that Australia, after being migrated by the Europeans, especially the British, that they started the discovery of opals happened. And the story has it, it was a young boy that was actually out with his dad, and they were prospecting for gold, not opals, and they discovered the beautiful opals, which are now in Coober Pedy. And when I tell you the fire that is in these opals is mind-boggling and breathtaking, it's an understatement. It truly is an understatement. I was dumbfounded. Predominantly, the opals that are found in the Coober Pedy area are that of shells. And it just blows your mind away to see these opals that are fossilized or have fossilized as shells. And literally, that's what has happened. So it was very exciting when the Australians and this young boy discovered the opals. Now, one of the things that happened, as did with many of the other countries, when World War I occurred, a lot of the mining stopped. Actually, the majority of the mining stopped because the men here, known as the Anzacs, which are the Australian and the New Zealand armies, they went off to fight in Gallipoli and various other places to help the British in World War I. So the mining of the opals really came to a stop. After World War I, the largest opal that was discovered to that point was then, well, the largest opal to be discovered by that point was discovered in Coober Pedy and presented to Her Majesty Queen Victoria at the time. I know it was Her Majesty, so it must have been before World War I. Her Majesty Queen Victoria as a gift. And it is still on display in the Crown Jewels at the Tower of London, which I actually got to see. I had no clue. I think I remember them saying it came from Australia. But now that I've actually been to the physical location of where it is in Coober Pedy, and by the way, just Coober Pedy, it looks very desolate. Yet, when I say that, it looks desolate to the physical eye. But it is absolutely exquisite. The energy that emanates from that area was glorious. So you're looking at flat plains with these huge piles of dirt because of the way that they mine there. And you're like, and there's all this machinery that looks pretty old. And you're looking at it and you're going, wow, this doesn't look like much. But yet, it's just very captivating, even to those who don't have the connection with stones as I do. So it was really awesome because I was traveling with others. I'm just looking to see. I keep hearing pinging, so nope. It doesn't look like I'm not being shown I have a question anywhere. Oops, there we go. Did that again. So it was really interesting. In any case, where was I going? So yeah, they did that, and I was going to see. I don't think that we have a picture in here of the largest. I had it. I meant to pull it up, and yeah, I don't think it was in this little book. I meant to pull it up online to show you all, but I didn't do that. So opals have found their place and gone, like many other gemstones have found their place as being, you know, the prized possession, to being not in favor, to actually raising back up in favor. There are opal stores everywhere here in Australia, Some of it has to do with, of course, this is the opal capital of the world, but another part has to do with the fact that it's art. When you wear an opal, you are wearing a beautiful piece of art that Mother Nature has provided. And it just is breathtaking. I absolutely love my opals. I have, right here is one of my, this is my opal. And I've been wearing it pretty much every day since I got it. So it's awesome. Now, opals are silica based. In terms of their molecular makeup, it's a silica base, which is like quartz. So when you want to work energetically, working with an opal and working with a quartz is a fantastic combo, because they both have the same molecular structure, meaning their vibrations will enhance one another, and it will work together very well. So one of the things about an opal, or the downside of working with an opal, is that its Mohs hardness is a 3. It ranges between a 3 and like a 3.5, depending upon the type of opal. A boulder opal, which is what I have on my neck right now, and you can see that back right there, that's actually part of the rock matrix that it's in. That's what a boulder opal is it stays in the matrix. And I have a couple of samples. That gives it a bit harder with the Mohs hardness, so it goes up to like a 3.7. It still is a very soft and delicate stone. It is a water-based stone. Now, it connects with the elements of, it depends which one, but they all connect with earth and water for the most part, unless it's a fire opal. And that connects with the fire element. And it too is just as delicate. It too is on that Mohs hardness scale of 3.0 to up to about 3.5, 3.7. Needless to say, that's why in terms of jewelry, if you make it in terms of jewelry, it's not something that me personally would run out and buy as a ring or buy necessarily as a bracelet. For me, I wouldn't want to own it as a bracelet or a necklace, a bracelet or a ring, because I have a tendency to bash into things. No matter how delicate and no matter how gentle I am, that's me. That's how it works. And that's how I roll, and I've come to realize that. I need to have a sip of water. Is everyone okay? Do I have any questions? Any thoughts right now? I'm giving everyone a moment if they need to pop over. I do have a viewer. I see that you can view. I see that you're viewing. I just don't see you within. So if you can get onto the chat group, do so. If you can't and you have a question, just go ahead over and you can message me the question on the Facebook page, I think. So I'll pop over. I think someone went over. Give me just 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. I think I have a question over here. Do I have a question? Nope, but maybe I don't. Maybe it's just me thinking I have a question. I love it. I'm double checking. We will get this. We will get this together. Oops. No, it looks like I'm doing okay. No one seems to be giving me any questions that I need to do. All righty, so let's go back over. Here we go. I want to make sure I give you guys the opportunity to ask. I'm itchy. My beautiful day that I was talking about looks like it's turning into rain, maybe some storms. They said we're going to have storms today. So let's hope. All righty. So I want to give you the visual of what an opal looks like under a microscope because they're made of little itty bitty spheres. And I think that it's a really cool thing. So I'm going to bring that up. So this is what an opal looks like under the microscope. It's little itty bitty spheres. One of the things that I have learned through my study of crystals and when I went through my crystal healer certification class is that what a crystal looks like in its tall form or in its full-size form, what we see visually, is just a representation of what it looks like at the molecular structure. It looks the same. And when I learned that, I thought that was the most fascinating thing, and I've just really enjoyed it because I really like to see what the molecular makeup is of the stones and the crystals that I work with. And it also helps you to figure out which ones you want to work with. It looks like I have a question of some sort. Give me just a second, only because I'm trying to figure this out. So I keep hearing chiming, so that's why I'm trying to figure this out, and I do apologize. I don't see a box to type any questions. Okay, Monica, that's great. Yeah, you might not. Oh, look. Do you see me with little dots on the bottom under my picture? I don't know if you do. One of the things that's I was in a Google Hangout last night, and I discovered that the way we were viewing it is we saw the picture, and then there was you could do the thumbs up or thumbs down, right? So if you go to your upper right hand, you see where I'm pointing? The upper right hand part of your screen, you're going to see a box that has little boxes in it. Right click that. And when you right click that, it's going to give you the chat box feature. Did that help? Because I see that you're in here. And I had someone else in here. I know Adriana really was going to try to make it. So I'm hoping that she is, but I know that she doesn't always get to watch in. For some reason, she ends up watching through YouTube. So see if that works for you. If not, message me. Yeah, I know, Monica, you can message me. So message me on Facebook, and it will pop up with the question. And then I'll just read the question and answer it. All right? Okay. So I was just showing you that. So one of the really interesting things is that opals are essentially fossils. And so they figure that the opals, the stuff that they find by the sediment and how they've been able to age it, they guesstimate, and I want to make sure, that most opals are commonly from the Cretaceous age, which is from 140 to 66.5 million years ago. And that the result in what we are seeing is about 20 to 18 million years ago. And the process of creating the opals is weathering, it's weathering, or the weather, a weathering down effect, I guess, because they're made up of essentially water, and how the water was embedded into these layers. Now I have a really cool demonstration piece that was given to me, by the most fantastic woman, who I ended up buying this pendant from. She's an incredible, incredible healer. I don't know if she knows it, but she was awesome. And she was like, you need to have this piece, and you're going to be doing a lot with it. So to give you an idea of how it works, do you see that? The white that's within here? That is the opal, right? And then this is the layers of rock, right? That it's set in. And what happens is the rain comes through and the weather comes through, and the rain gets caught in this sediment and it crystallizes. And depending upon how long the compression, the crystallization, the fossils that are around it, depends upon the shape that happens. And of course the fire and the color. So I love this piece. It was funny because I cannot remember her name for the life of me. And her son, it was the two of them that were in the store. And they actually spent about, in total, about 2 hours talking to me and my group of travelers, really about opals and how they were made and developed. Her husband had been one of the first families, or one of the first miners there to really, stake a place after World War II. Prior to World War II, it was one of those, a couple of people were out there and they were fossicking, or what they actually call mining of opals, noodling. Now in the United States, noodling has to do with catfish. Here, noodling has to do with opals. I think I like the noodling here a little bit better, but that's just me. So that was really interesting. I have another piece, and this piece actually has shell, opalized shell, and it's opals. I'm going to show it to you, and I don't know. They told me I should, they being the mother and son, said I should probably take this and polish it up a bit. They pulled this out of the ground in I want to say she said it was in 1970-ish, sometime in the 1970s, and she had been holding this piece. And it was really funny. She looks at me, she goes, I've been holding this piece for you. She says, yep, you need to take this home with you. This is yours. But if you look, and I'm going to see if I can bring it up to the camera, there it is. Right in here is an opal shell, and you can see how it goes. Right here is an opal shell. And then when I turn it, inside, there is more opal shell. And if you actually look, I'll pull it out, and you actually look at the shape of this piece, you can see how it was formed. But there is tons of shell. Here's a really good shell. This one's my favorite. See the purple right there? That's my favorite one. Yeah, the reason why they didn't work this piece any further is they were afraid that it would damage. It actually damage the opals that were in it. And so that's why she's left it like this. One of her thoughts was to scrub it up and then just polish it a bit, and that's what she suggests that I do, is just let it soak and work away the rock a little bit more, and then I can polish it up. And we just haven't gotten there yet. I don't know. I really enjoy the feel of this one. So I wanted to show you that. This is what a shell, a fossil, an opalized fossil shell in cupripede looks like. And you can see all the shells in there. Essentially, that's what they were saying, thinking that I could create. I patiently whittled it away. But you can see the shell especially there. It's like a clam shell. Oh, I wore a pendant that was a clam shell, and it was maybe this big right here. And and that's all it was an opal clam shell. And it was absolutely exquisite. It was absolutely breathtaking. The second that it touched my skin, it was on fire. My skin, my whole body just started to vibrate at a rate that was just absolutely amazing. And prior to putting, I actually ended up putting on 3 shells. I put on an oyster shell, a clam shell, and then a shell that I forget what it is, but it's a longer shell, and it was a spirally down kind of shell. And I put those on after I had tried on several other necklaces. But the shells really drew me. I mean, it just, yeah. It was amazing energy. So in any case, back to the workshop of the opals. Opals, like I said, are found, and they're found in various places of the world. The top places right now that you can get them is here in Australia. Ethiopia is pulling out some beautiful, beautiful, picturesque opals. Hungary still has some mining going on. Their mines are very milky opals. And the United States and UK also have what is called a common opal, which is it has an iridescent more to it than it has fire in its opal. There's also opals that come from South America. Again, less fire. Well, I should take that back. South America is known for their fire opals, or their fire agate, which is very red and very vibrant. I do have a beautiful Mexican opal, which I didn't bring up. And it's very iridescent and very clear. And so each area's opals throughout the world bring very different elements. They all have some sort of iridescence and fire to them, which is, the creation of, it's almost a prismatic effect with light reflection. And so it's a really cool thing. So when you are looking, I was going to show you how I don't think I have the picture. Oh, here we do. Now, when they're mining an opal, typically, that's not a very nice one. Nor is that. When they're actually mining opals, at least here in Australia, we've seen a little bit of it. They mine in a couple of different ways. One of the most popular ways is drilling down and then sort of working from there. Then they have the mining where they actually remove using bulldozers, and they remove layers, and they work, and it's so one person moves everything with a bulldozer, and then others are behind noodling and looking through everything, you know, to find the opals. I think it depends on the location, which is the most favored way to mine. I know in Coober Pedy, it appeared that the most favored way to mine was actually drilling down and then mining out. Now, a really neat thing that they do when they're mining in opals in Coober Pedy is that when they're done with that particular area or that particular mine, they use the dugout and they create it into a home. And I have to tell you, I didn't get to go inside of a dugout that was a home, but I went inside a dugout that was a church, and I went inside a dugout that was a store, and then we went into a dugout that was a sort of a museum set up under a hotel. And that was pretty amazing to see how it is that they actually were able to use the old mine to create something that was livable. Now, when we went to Coober Pedy, it was in the winter, and it actually was really chilly out. It was pretty dang cold. We were all bundled up and everything, and just it was a huge relief to be able to duck into the stores and the shops and everything, because you knew that A, the wind wasn't going to be getting you, and B, the chill wasn't there as well. But when we went into the dugouts, it was very comfortable. You could feel the balance of the natural heat that the Mother Earth was providing for that place. It was not cold in the least, and nor was there any heat being piped in to these dugouts. It was very comfortable to be there. So we thought that was, we being, again, the whole group, thought that was a really fascinating aspect of the whole experience being in Coober Pedy. So let's go on to some of the, well, some more of the interesting things, and that is the types of opals there are. Now, there are many types of opals, and now here it's talking about that. They have to do with their color. They can be valued by their color, which actually is how they are valued. The iridescent white opals, common opals, have less of a value than the fire opals that are found here in Australia up in Lightning Ridge area. For the most part, the black opals and the black fire opals are found only in the one location. And what makes them black is not that they are literally black, it's just that the matrix or origin, the actual color of them is all the darker, vibrant colors. And then there's a lot of fire within it. And so that is really incredible. Then you have, of course, boulder opals, which is what I have here. And those are the opals that I had shared earlier are kept intact with the actual stone and rock that's within it. Now, I'm wearing a boulder opal, but I also, and I have another boulder opal over there to show you that's a pendant, but I also have a boulder opal. And for those of you who are doing the 11 days of connecting to your crystals, here's the crystal that I'm choosing today. This is my boulder opal. And let's see, aha. Do you see the blue fire that's in there? That's the opal that's set within. Now, you may say to me, well, but there's not a lot of color in here, and there's not, you know, there's not a lot to it. But the energy that it comes from this stone is absolutely magnificent. I took a picture, and it's not showing up nearly as well on my little camera here. So I'll make sure that I give you guys a picture. But the blue is very vibrant, especially out in the sunlight. It's like this fire blue, and it's stunning. But it is still set within the matrix of the boulder that it was found in. And this is a fantastic, fantastic piece. So I love that. Now, I have a little shell here, and I'm going to see if I can open that. Hold on just a second. This was another gift. Oh, that family we bought. Oh, my God, they were fantastic. Here is a little shell, and it's one of the round ones. I forget what they call it. My brain just, I forget the name. But this is part of a shell, and it's not polished. It's just a sample. And the really interesting thing about the opals and where they are mined is that they name the areas really cool names and really interesting names. And let's see if I have them in here. Sometimes I think I have them in this book, this booklet. There we go. And what I mean is, it's not like this, the town, but it's the actual areas that they dig. They actually have, like they have Gus's, Goose Gully, Crystal Valley, Oldfield, Granite Downs, Rainbow Rock, Broken Leg Waterhole. I'm guessing that the person who founded that broke their leg there, maybe? Interesting. Longins Bay, Wellburn Hill. They have one that's unnamed. And then they have a couple of others. I was looking. The one area with the opals that I seemed to be most attracted to was Emu Field, or Emu, was Emu. And I just thought that it was very interesting. Oh, here we go. It is, where is it? Well, I found it interesting because we kept passing so many emus along the way down here. There were emus everywhere. There's Black Point, German Gully, Saddle, Jungle, just Emu Field, Lennon, Olympic, Southern Cross, South Pacific. But they name their areas, their working areas, so that when opals come from those areas, you have an idea and you know what is found there. And the Emu area was full of a lot of the shells. But not only was it full of the shells, most of the shells were the lilac, pinks, and blues, and with this vibrant green in them as well. So it really was interesting to see how the field that it came from changed the color. So not only is the location, like from Cooper Pedy to Lightning Ridge to Boulder, and there are a couple of, there in Southern Australia, there are a couple of other locations. But, you know, when you're talking about Europe, South America, Africa, those are huge distances, so you understand the difference. But when you're talking about an area that's no bigger than essentially the geographical area of New York City, and you can see the differences that are so tremendous. It just blows your mind away. It really did. Well, it blew my mind away. So those were those. I showed you that. Another opal that is that is found here is called the pine cone opal, and literally it looks like it's a pine cone. It has all these little spikes, and it is absolutely, I get to see one of these in person, and it's a pretty neat one. So imagine the energy of this pine cone opal, because every point that it has is emanating the energy out. If you've been playing with any of my crystal classes or workshops that I've done, or if you've taken any where they actually start introducing the science, one of the things you'll learn is that the energy emanates out, and it's the points, the apex, that actually sends it out. And so not only is it radiating out from within, it's it's shooting out as well, which is really cool. That was a very interesting opal that I didn't know existed, of course, until I went to Cooper PD and learned. So when you're working with opals, one of the myths that happens, and you may or may not have heard it, is that you should never have an opal, work with an opal, or own an opal if it, A, wasn't given to you by someone who truly loves you, B, is not your birthstone, or C, if you have an opal, all it's going to do is bring you bad luck, right? Those are the myths that I heard growing up about opals. Well, none of that is true. It really is not. It is a fabulous opal, and it's a fantastic opal to work with. I will say, if you are wanting to start to work with an opal in a energetic sense, be prepared for some mind-blowing awesomeness to start to happen. And it will move relatively quickly. And opals are fantastic connectors. Excuse me. They work with several of the chakras. It depends on the opal itself. They can work with the sacral. They work with I want to make sure I get it right. It's the sacral is for the common. They can work when you're talking about the really white ones. They can work with your crown. The opals that have a lot of pink work with your heart, the higher heart, not your heart, but they'll work with your higher heart. So they open up communication. They really tap into emotion, also dealing with the sacral. It really works with your creativity, that's the fire, and the energy, which is your solar plexus. It is not a masculine stone by any stretch of the imagination. It is very much a feminine stone. And the elements, it can work, it has the ability to fall within all the elements, whether it's earth, water, fire, or air. It is very much a all around connecting stone. It is really a fantastic stone for those who want to start deepening their understanding of themselves, or their understanding of their connection to themselves and how it reflects out with others. And so if you're somebody who's still trying to discover or find yourself, or you're not really ready to just dive deep, I wouldn't run out. and grab an opal quite yet. There's some other stones I've worked. I personally would suggest. There are other things I would suggest that you work with and build yourself up to having an opal. They are fantastic for helping to manifest abundance if used in wealth. And I was reading one of my crystal magic books, and funny enough, I got this book a few years ago, and I've only ever pulled it out. I don't pull it out all the time, but I really enjoy working with this book or reading it the few times I have, because it combines the elements, the energy of the stones, and herbs. And I'm somebody who likes to work with layering vibrations, because the layering of vibrations just amplifies it even further. So as someone is someone who's a Reiki master, such as myself, that's me, that works on it works on all levels, but it really focuses on this etheric that comes into the physical. And what I find is by adding the layer then of crystals, which is very physical, very tangible, people understand it. If for no other reason, it's something physically that they can touch and connect to. But then you add another aspect of herbs, which is something that people also connect to because it's something we cook with. So we energetically, we absorb the energy internally as well as externally. And then you add something such as aromatherapy as well. I mean, you've hit essentially 4 incredible senses, and really you've hit 5 and 6 senses if the person is open to connecting to all of it all at once. And it's just magical. So when I use this, and I refer to my the book, that's the magic, I can actually tell you the name. I have stuff on top of the book. So, it is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Crystals, Gems, and Metal Magic. And this is it's a cool book. I got it, like I said, I got it for amber, is when I primarily bought it, which is, by the way, the crystal of the month next month. We're going to be diving into amber. And I'll give you a hookup here in a minute for that. But one of the things I found very interesting in this magic aspect is it says using a fire opal often draws money, and it can be carried or placed beside a green candle that are burning. So say, for example, you have a business, and I know that there are many people who have businesses. You can actually use a fire opal and a green candle and burn it within your business before. It says to burn and place, place this within the building after empowering or using your intentions, that it magnifies and it attracts customers. So there's something. I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to share that with you. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. But when using the opals, the best way, or the way that has spoken to me personally, I recommend that you figure out how it would best serve you. Because if you want to use it to attract, we'll say what this says, money and clients, or you wanting to use it to create relationships, strong relationships and bonds, are you wanting it to deepen who you are and find more out about yourself? Or is it something that you need to heal, like within your heart? That is going to guide you best as to how you're going to want, or which opal you're going to want to use. One of the things for me is I found that it is drawing me closer and connecting me closer to my shaman, my shamanic path, as a healer, and which is another one. An opal is considered to be by some a shamanic stone, and it helps connect you more along that path, which makes great sense because of the depth of the stone, the connectiveness of the stone to the earth, and the levels and the depths that it is found within. When you're dealing with any crystals and stones that are millions of years old, it just isn't millions of years old. It's millions of years old with millions of years of energy absorbed within. It's millions of years old with stories that run deep. And it's millions of years old with lessons that have been taught and learned before you, meaning that the stone can actually guide you, teach you, and really send you on a deep, profound journey. It is a stone that resonates deeply with me, and I know it resonates deeply with others. I do have some other little stones, and I want to share these with you. They're in a little thing. I'm looking, here we go. Like these little stones, see them? See the little colors in them? These are fantastic little opals that have the energy of the opal and have the depth, but yet because they're white and their color isn't quite as vibrant or quite as deep, are a great way to start if you want to start working with an opal. Working with a boulder opal is another fantastic way to start working with an opal, although I have to say that some of the boulder opals I've come across are pretty powerful. There's a place that's in downtown Sydney out by the rocks that I've gone to now a couple of times, and they have beautiful boulder opal specimens, and there are some that have been in there that just, wow, they blow me away. And I've had some in there and I've gone, wow, this would be, this is a level that's just not speaking to me. So opals can be a very wonderful gift to have to your tool bag, and a very and a really incredible energy to use. You just have to be ready and be in that place. Not every stone, and you'll find that even on with some of the stones I'm doing, or crystals every month, some of them are, I'll be like, hey, everyone needs to have this. Everyone needs to run out and buy it. But others, I will give like a little bit more of a warning, and I'll say, like this one, you have to be ready for it. They really can bring in a great deal of information. Now, one of the things that I would love to do with you is I want to give you each an opportunity of, and I thought about this actually, and it keeps coming up. So I'm going to give you each an opportunity for me to hand select, if you would like, an opal for you here in Australia. It will probably be a Boulder opal, and it will be interesting. This is the second time that's happened. It will be a 25 minimum, 25 US dollars is probably the cost. That will get you a lovely Boulder opal. And I say that because I haven't seen any that are this size locally where I'm at. All the Boulder opals that I've seen, I got that one in Queensland when we were traveling. All the Boulder opals I've really been seeing are usually what we'll say fist size. They're pretty much fist size. And so if this interests you, let me know. I'm going to be going into the city next week, and I'm going for my birthday, as a matter of fact. And I will happily hand select, clear, and ship you a Boulder opal if that's something that you desire. I will require you to pay me in advance or at least give me the down payment of, hey, Krista, I'll give you $25, but this is my max level I want to go. Because believe me, the sky's the limit, and if you are looking for a substantial piece, I can do that as well. Although I'll check with you, take pictures, check and stuff before I would do anything quite too expensive. But let me know. I'll happily do that. And one of the things that I'm also offering for anybody who does buy a special order of a Boulder opal, has me go out, I am going to do a special connection meditation that I will send to you via, I'm using, I have a way I'm uplinking them, and then I'll send you that link for you you can connect to your pretty little opal and really have it be one with you. So that's pretty much my little workshop on opals. I could probably go longer and dive further in with them, but essentially I wanted to give you guys enough information so you could, if you want, if it's a stone that speaks to you, you could dive further yourself. I have one last thing. Well, no, I guess I won't. I was going to show you my daughter's Boulder opal, but I think I'll put it away because she might want to watch this video later. And that's a present for her. And I don't want to spoil it. But am up for any questions that you have with regards to opals. As I said, I'm going to start doing this class monthly, and I'm going to look at my calendar. I brought my calendar up so that I could tell you the date for next month, because I'm trying to keep it consistent with the third Wednesday of every month. Ooh. There was a little event I wanted to do on that day. So I'm looking, and then I have Thanksgiving on the 25th. That won't work. No, that will not do. So my thought is that we can meet again for the Crystal of the Month, since we do have some things going on. Let's meet on November 18th. For the Crystal of the Month at 10 a.m. And please bear in mind when I say November 18th, that is my November 18th. For my friends that are on the opposite side of the international date line, that would be November 17th for you. And we'll meet about 10 a.m. I may push it up to 11 a.m. because I know that The East Coast will be doing fall back. Well, actually, the United States will be falling back at the beginning of November. So that will give you guys a little bit of a later start time than if I do it. Because if I do it at 10, that means it would be right smack dab in the middle of dinner. And so me trying to start it off at a later time. November will be amber. And if you are wanting to get a hold of a piece of amber, I have a connection for you. And your connection is classactimports.com. However, they do not have pieces of Baltic amber. You can contact Sue at classactimports.com and just tell her that you are going to be doing the Crystal of the Month Club with me, Krista, at Dimensional Healing, and she will hook you up. I don't know what she sells the amber per gram, but all her amber comes from the Baltic area, which is it is the oldest amber, or the oldest amber on record, or to date, that we have found on the planet. Mexican amber, or Opal, the younger Caribbean amber, that's younger amber. And it does have a different vibe to it. It has a much different feel to it. So if you can work with either, or you can work with both. But if you're interested in starting a collection of each crystal, she's the person that you'll want to see for your amber. She'll be your amber connection. I will also include that in the write-up of the Crystal of the Month for next month. And November's class is going to be a paid event. So please make sure that you pay and reserve your seat through eventbrite.com. I'll have that link up probably at the beginning of November. And when you do that, then that will set you guys up. And I will be able to link you into my goal is to have a little worksheet for each Crystal of the Month class. And it will also have references. So then you'll know where you can go. And my other, for those of you who have crystals, we will have a actual connection meditation with an affirmation to go with that particular crystal. Like I said, for those of you who would like me to hand select a Boulder Opal for you, special order it, please let me know. What I'll do is message me, and I'll invoice you. I'll do it at $25 USD minimum. I will charge shipping and handling. And just tell me what your max is, and I will pick that up for you and ship it off. And with that will come your connection meditation and the affirmation for that particular stone. The one thing about working with the opals, because there are such a vast number of them, finding or doing the affirmation and the connection really is an individual stone. It should be individualized for that particular stone. So in any case, that's where I am. I also have running right now, and it's not too late to join, the 11 days connecting to your crystals. We're on day 3, and as I said before, those of you who are in and want to know what crystal I'll be connecting to, today is my Boulder Opal. He and I, this is a male. Well, is it? Yeah, it's saying it's a male. That's funny because most opals are all females, but this one, for some reason, that was very interesting. So maybe gender-wise, it's all feminine energy I get from them. Although that particular one, it must be what's in the boulder. It just emanated this masculine energy. I was like, that was weird. See, we're all learning all at once together. Yeah, I'll be connecting to this Boulder Opal today and using that. just go in and you'll see it under my events that's running, and come in, share your discoveries, take pictures of your stones, share them. I'm looking for somebody who wants to be bold enough to put a video in and really work with that. But this is really exciting. When I teach people to connect to their stones, it's all about using all your senses. It's about really paying attention to the nuances that occur around you. It's not necessarily about opening a book and reading. We all can open a book and read, and I did read a little bit, and I did research a little bit for the opals, because of the way this is progressing and what I'm creating as the workshop. But usually I work totally intuitively with my crystals, because as I try to express to people, your crystals will connect to you and teach you differently than the way they'll teach those around you. And just because for me an opal connects to my shamanic energy doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to speak for you. It may connect you to your goddess energy. I don't know. It's very individualized. Alrighty, with that being said, I wish you all a fantastic, fantastic evening. And those of us who are here in Australia, I wish us a fantastic day. I'm so happy you came to join me. I look forward to seeing you again. God bless each of you. Crystal blessings. Mwah. And until next time, remember, be the best version of you. And now is the time to let your soul sing. Bye for now.